So you're in luck today because I'm going to show you how to make the only sourdough bread that you need to know. If you're going to make one sourdough bread, let's make it something that's a great staple. It can be made in the cracks of a day. It doesn't require a heavy maintenance routine of the sourdough culture. It's easy. Tucker, this bread's for you, buddy. So today we're going to make Pain De Campagne. This is a bread that my good friend down in Connecticut, Moira Brickman, taught me how to make. I wrote a blog about it, and it's called basically like, Don't Be a Bread Hostage. It's a really good sort of story about how this bread came about and how it fits into the cracks of your day. This is my staple sourdough loaf at home. We don't call it Pain De Campagne, we just call it bread. Like my wife says, are you going to make some bread or should I make some bread? Because this is some bread, the bread. This is the only bread you need if you're going to make a sourdough. Okay, so maybe before I jump into stirring and all of that, let me just talk for just a second. The reason that this bread, or one of the reasons that this bread is so dang easy, is that it uses unrefreshed starter. And what that means is, about once a week, I take my starter out of the fridge, I give it a feeding, and I let it start to grow or double or get to a healthy place. And then I use a little bit to make this bread, and then I feed it again and I put it back in the fridge. All those details are in the recipe, but basically the idea is that you have sort of starter which is relatively healthy in the fridge and you can use it straight to make this bread. There's no long period of sort of maturation or building the starter before you make it. So 40 grams of starter. Now, the amount of starter that I use in, say, the winter months versus the summer months can be variable. Sometimes in the winter I might use a little bit more because if you think about it, it's what you're using to make the bread rise. So in the winter months where fermentation may be a little bit slower, you can use a little bit more starter. But follow the recipe, there are a lot of good tips in there, and you can read the blog as well, which I think is very helpful. So I got about 40 grams of starter, and I'm gonna add 800 grams of water. Salt is 20 grams, 900 grams of bread flour, 100 grams of white whole wheat. I like it a lot. If you do water and liquids first like I did, you won't have flour stuck in the corners of your container. It's a little bit easier. And now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna fold it 3 times. I'm gonna give it 3 series of folds, 15 minutes apart. So right now I set a 15-minute timer and then I come back and I'm gonna show you a fold in just a second. All right, so it's been about 15 minutes. Let's do our first fold. So I got a little bit of water just to get my hand wet with, and I'm gonna reach in and under and just pull up. And you can see that already this dough is getting some strength. Look at that. Again, I've said it before, but it's like the superhero power of bread flour. Great gluten forming capabilities. And so I just make my way around this dough, giving a little bit of a fold. So 15 minutes and we'll be back to check on this. Okay, so this is the second fold and 15 minutes after the first one. And just looking at the dough, I can see that it's smoothing out a little bit already. So as the flour hydrates, the gluten forms, it strengthens, it gets more elastic and stretchable. So I'm going to do the same thing I did the first time. I'm just going to go around the container, folding it. And it's got a lot of strength. It looks great. Dough feels like it's already even gaining some activity. So I just make my way around. Strong. Looks good. That's it. It looks pretty, right? Come look at this. Happy. That's happy dough.
Happy dough?
Very happy. That's literally 30 minutes from when I mix the dough. Magic. So another 15 minutes and I'll come back and do the last fold. So 3 folds total over the course of 45 minutes. Okay, so third fold. This dough's had 45 minutes since when we mixed, and I'm gonna do the last fold. Same as before. Hands a little bit wet so the dough doesn't stick to me. I reach under and I pull up, and look at that. Gorgeous, right? So beautiful dough. And that's the last time I'm gonna touch it until the divide. I like for this dough to have doubled before I get to the divide. Now in the winter when things are pretty cold and things may move a little bit more slowly, it's okay not to see a full doubling, but I like to see a doubling. And so what I do is I take a little piece of tape and I put it right where the top of the dough is. So then I'm gonna know in 12 hours or whatever it is, I'll know when the dough is doubled, and that to me signifies that it's a nice healthy dough and ready for the divide. So I'm gonna leave it at room temperature for about 12 hours or so, and then I'll come back and divide it. This is the dough I mixed last night, and this is like my regular Morris bread or Pain De Campagne container, and you can tell that like I've got this piece of painter's tape that's been on there for I don't know how long, a long time. So this is at least doubled. I've got some bubbling, it's domed, it's super healthy, ready to divide. So a little bit of flour on top, help it come out without sticking to my hand too much. And then so this recipe makes 2 loaves, so you can either eyeball it and divide it in half. Loaves should be right around 900 grams. That one's a little heavy. Doesn't have to be perfect. Close, just close. So then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little bit of flour on the bench and I'm gonna do a pre-shape. And the pre-shape is just pulling from the outside. It's almost like a fold, and I'm just taking the outside of the dough and I'm pressing it to the middle. That's it. Same thing here. I'm just gonna work my way around this piece of dough and just pressing with the force required to allow it to seal. So I'm not like punching into the loaf. There's no need to be aggressive. It's just a gentle pressing from the outside to the inside. And that's my pre-shape. Let me do it one more time. So I'm gonna put it on a floured surface for this sort of rest period. So from the outside to the inside, boop, working my way around. There's no need to really degas the dough or to be aggressive with it. You're just making your way around, and then I turn it over and I'm gonna leave it right there. So I'm gonna take a towel, and because these are only gonna rest for about 15 minutes, I can use a linen or something like that. If you're gonna leave them for longer than 15 or 20 minutes, I would recommend like a sheet of plastic or something like that. You don't want the surface to dry out, because then when you go to shape, it won't stretch, it'll just break. And we wanna maintain that nice sort of stretchy surface to it. So 15 minutes, I'll come back. That was the pre-shape, we'll come back for the final shape. A little bit of flour. And I've got 2 baskets here, so I thought, well, I'll do one shaped as a round, and I'll do one which I'll shape as a batard or more of an oblong shape. So maybe I'll do the round first, and I'm gonna shape this the same way that I did the pre-shape, which is starting on the outside, coming to the center, pressing gently to adhere, and just working my way around. And I'll put that in the basket in just a second. First, I'll shape this batard. I'm patting it to make sure that there aren't any big bubbles in the dough. Just a gentle pat, but this looks good. So to shape a batard, there are a lot of ways, but I'm gonna show you an easy way. I'm just coming in from the side, pressing gently to adhere, make sure that I'm not stuck to the bench, and then I'm just gonna roll it down, pressing to seal as I go. You could use the palm or heel of your hand, and I just give it a little bit of tension. You'll have these little rolly things on the end, and what you can do to sort of fix those is just to press down like that. And that's it. So I can set that aside for a second, and I'll prepare my baskets. For dusting flour, I'm using a little bit of whole wheat. Because this loaf has a little bit of whole wheat inside, I prefer the texture and the sort of visual appeal of having something that's not just sort of homogeneous and white. This has a little bit of color to it, and it has a little bit of texture. And so I'm gonna go into the basket. So I'm looking for not a heavy dusting, but an even dusting. And I want it up the sides because as this loaf rises, it's going to come up the mold. So there's my prepared banneton. I put them in seam side up. And so this is going to become the top of the loaf, and I'm going to put that in facing down. Because when I load, and you'll see it in a second, I'll dump the bread out. Same thing with the round. The seam is down, and I just gently lay it in, making sure that the seam side is up. So these will go into the fridge covered for about 12 hours. Okay, so these are my doughs that got cold fermentation, right? They've been in the fridge for quite a while now. They continue to rise when they're in the fridge. You can see that they're beginning to fill the baskets. There's some air bubbles. They're soft. Definitely ready to go in. My covered baker is preheated. It's very hot, and I'm going to go ahead and score this. That's it. Should use this thing. That goes in there. I'm going to put the lid on. You can put a little bit of ice in there, or you can just put a little tiny bit of water, and that just sort of helps with the steaming process. Challenger bread pan. Love it. Good tool. Very good tool. Okay. For the second loaf, I'm going to bake it on a baking stone, right? And in order to sort of facilitate sliding it into the oven, I'm going to put a piece of parchment down. Come on out. There we go. And I'm just going to give a single score. That's it. Make sure that you don't have any spots that you missed. I missed one a little bit there. Got a nice low blade angle. It's ready to go in. So I'm going to slide this onto the stone, and then I'm going to add some water to some preheated pans that I have in the oven, which are going to facilitate, or they're going to produce steam. These have been in here for 45 minutes. The first 20 minutes, the one in the covered baker in the Challenger bread pan, I had the lid on. After 20 minutes, I take the lid off. In the one that's uncovered, I don't need to really do anything. And so 45 minutes, and this is what we got. Nice batard, good color. I think sometimes when people see this level of color, they might get a little bit concerned, but trust me that that's just flavor. That's not burnt, it's just flavor. It's like the grill marks on a good piece of grilled vegetable or meat or something like that. It smells good too. You know, it smells almost a little bit cheesy, a little bit sour. And the other one inside the covered baker, beautiful shine, beautiful steam. The benefit of having that in that closed system is that all of the moisture that comes off the loaf re-adheres or steams. It essentially self-steams, and plus I added just a little bit of liquid at the start of the bake. But that's gorgeous. To me, this is like the staple loaf. If I were only going to make one loaf, this is the loaf that I'll eat every day of the week. It's open structured, it has good fermentation, it's easy, I can make it in the cracks of my day, there's not a lot of active work. If you're going to make one loaf of sourdough bread, this is the loaf to make. Period. Pain De Campagne, also known as Moira's bread. Moira, thanks for sharing. Y'all get out there and give this a shot. Reach out with any questions. This is Martin and Tucker from the studio saying thanks for joining us.